The manga begins with two girls who adored a young man, quite a lucky guy. One calls him a college genius because of his sharp intellect with espionage programs, while the other comments on his attractiveness and wonders where he'll go to land a high-level job. The other girl is confident he'll reach a prestigious career and plans to confess her feelings as soon as he achieves this goal. Quite the interest, huh? For over a century, games have invaded the world, unleashing various monsters and forcing people to develop new skills. All humans could do was level up, fight monsters, and constantly adapt just to survive. Falling behind meant certain death. In these desperate times, geniuses attracted attention as their skills determined humanity's future. Zhang Li, a talented individual who traveled between worlds at the age of 18, has been learning new abilities driven solely by the desire to become the strongest. Zhang Li thrives in all aspects of life, confident that his abilities will reveal a hidden job class. Job classes are divided into three categories: basic, advanced, and hidden. Advancing in each category is increasingly difficult, but the power gained is like finding a needle in a haystack. The college director, who prides himself on being always right, believes in Zhang Li's unlimited potential. However, being a genius often provokes envy and dissatisfaction, and this is the story we'll be following today. Before we begin, don't forget to hit the like button, hype up the video to support us, and of course, subscribe to the channel. We post videos every day here and you don't want to miss any of them, right? So go ahead and subscribe, and let's dive into this incredible story. A man approaches Zhang Li, declaring him the long-awaited genius. Yang Seal approaches with two henchmen, asking Zhang if he is indeed the long-anticipated prodigy. He inquires about which advanced job class Zhang will awaken. Zhang Li recognizes Yang Seal as one of the three geniuses, the son of a powerful Golden Class practitioner from the Golden Domain Academy. Zhang responds indifferently to Yang Seal's question, admitting he doesn't know when he'll awaken. Yang Seal interrupts, advising him not to grow arrogant, as he might awaken an unfavorable job class and lose respect. Zhang defiantly orders Yang Seal to let go of him. Startled by Zhang's piercing gaze, Yang Seal quickly withdraws his hand from Zhang's shoulder. With his hands in his pockets as he steps away, Zhang reflects on being the topic of the day, fully aware that a failed awakening would be extremely embarrassing. A failed genius risks becoming an eternal failure. Zhang Daniel, a Class 1 student, is the first to awaken but fails in the process. The supervisor comforts Zhang Daniel, encouraging those with average awakenings to keep hope and persevere before calling the next student. The supervisor emphasizes everyone's potential. The next awakening captures everyone's attention. Le Women surprises the crowd by transforming into a swift archer. Known as a genius from the Golden Domain Academy, Le Women dazzles everyone with a brilliant flash of lights. The following student also awakens to an advanced job class. Yan Chu, currently an advanced class flame mage, expresses disdain, dismissing it as just advanced. The spectators marvel at the consecutive advanced awakenings, commenting that even more talented candidates haven't shown up yet. However, Yang Qin mocks their admiration, calling it foolishness and dismissing advanced job classes as unimpressive. He claims talent is innate and ridicules Zhang Li's efforts. When Zhang Li's awakening begins, the instructors acknowledge his exceptional performance and high scores. As a strange, blinding roar of light emerges, Zhang's awakening process starts. The prolonged disturbance during his awakening surprises the director, who speculates about the outcome, wondering if Zhang might achieve a unique hidden job class. When the procedure concludes, Zhang discovers he has awakened to a basic mage class. A professor, struggling to process this unexpected result, questions the outcome, while another appears visibly concerned. Yang Qin ridicules Zhang's awakening, boasting that he remains the superior flame mage. Students begin to question Zhang's supposed talent, flocking to Le Women to praise her as the true prodigy. Unable to speak, Zhang hears whispers of disappointment and doubt. Standing in the spotlight, his results met with shock and surprise from the crowd, Zhang wonders if this is the limit of his potential and questions the truth of his circumstances. His thoughts are interrupted by the system's congratulations, revealing a set of unique, automatically optimized skills. Stunned by the revelation, Zhang questions whether this is related to his experience traveling between worlds. Observing the skills displayed by the system, he realizes they were initially far from their full potential. Suddenly, Zhang notices something unusual. His skill levels begin to rise rapidly. He watches in astonishment as all his abilities improve in proficiency, wondering what is happening. With his mouth agape, he recalls the director's mention of awakening and how each profession has 3 level 1 skills that can be strengthened by leveling up. But doing so is extremely challenging. Zhang says with a sly smile that it was surprisingly easy for him to reach the highest level of proficiency. He claims that the benefit of achieving the maximum level surpasses even that of a hidden job class and feels that fate hasn't abandoned him after all. The director gives Zhang Li a firm pat on the shoulder, encouraging him not to give up on his dream of becoming part of the highest class. He assures Zhang of the professor's belief in him and reminds him of the limited opportunities awaiting him as a practitioner. Zhang expresses gratitude to the director and promises to keep striving while flashing a determined smile. Zhang returns to the classroom with a fake smile, realizing he's received a comforting gesture from the director amid the mockery and laughter of others. Accepting the harsh reality that people often prefer to see a genius fail, Zhang smiles to himself, reflecting on his latent abilities and the possibility of surprising everyone by surpassing their expectations. Meanwhile, the students are honing their aim, practicing in the experimental shooting field. Yanqin dazzles his friends by shooting flames from his fingers at targets. He beams as his friends applaud and praise his extraordinary skills, quite the group of sycophants. Yanqin acknowledges Zhang as an average mage and calls out to him as he returns to the classroom. During a competition, Yanil fires a flame in Zhang's direction to get his attention. Irritated, Zhang looks at Yanil, wondering what he wants. Yanil challenges Zhang to demonstrate his abilities and face an experienced fire mage. Zhang declines, stating that he is already proficient and doesn't need further training. Annoyed, Yanil insists that Zhang should showcase his skills, not train. Yanqin tests Zhang's courage, questioning if he dares to face an experienced mage. Yanil mocks him, calling him a coward. Zhang, unfazed, makes a swift move with his right hand, launching massive fireballs. Yanil laughs, dismissing it as a simple trick, doubting Zhang's seriousness. The fireball hits the target, resulting in a massive explosion that stuns Yanil. Yanil looks back in shock as the area is consumed by flames. The fire destroys several targets. Yanil shouts in disbelief, claiming this cannot be true. Yanqin screams as Zhang walks away, wondering how a basic mage like Zhang could cast such powerful fireball spells. Zhang Li admits to himself that the max-level fireball is indeed powerful, but consumed half of his mana. He feels compelled to level up quickly to increase his maximum mana. Quietly, Zhang returns home, and a voice asks him why his mother advises him to wash his hands before preparing to eat. At the dinner table, Zhang informs his parents that he has awakened and is now a mage. His proud mother exclaims, "That's fantastic!" and suggests he use his abilities in a safer, rear-line position on his team. She says she has something special to give him and stands up. She reveals a box that belonged to his father, who was a powerful professional, and explains that it has great sentimental value. Disturbed by this revelation, Zhang demands to know why she never told him that his father had died before his birth. Knowing his father was a powerful professional, he questions where his father went and why he ignored them for so long. His mother responds that his father left quickly because he had important matters to resolve, but she doesn't know the exact reason. "Another one who went to buy cigarettes," Zhang mutters sarcastically. His mother explains that his father said he was going to the ends of the world. She reminds Zhang that his father had promised to make him a mage and explains that she always prioritized his magical studies because of that promise. Tearfully, she tells him not to blame his father. Looking away and wiping her tears, she says that he has grown and become a mage. Exhausted, she suggests Zhang return to his room to rest before checking the contents of the box. When Zhang opens it, a dazzling light fills the room, and his face lights up in astonishment. Inside the box is a class transition scroll, which, upon reaching the gold or higher level as a mage, allows a transition to the formidable arcanist profession. Experts in a specifics area can level up their chosen professions if they meet certain requirements. Jang's father was a gold-level specialist who achieved remarkable feats. Holding the scroll, Jang reflects on his father's status, whether in the sacred domain or at demigod levels, and wonders why he has been absent for so long. I've already said it. He went to buy cigarettes. He's not coming back. Resolute, Jang puts the scroll back into the container and focuses on his goal of achieving gold-level professional status before the test in Genie City, which begins in 7 days. He emphasizes the importance of being well-prepared in advance. Meanwhile, a pompous man expresses his disdain, saying, "Just another naive kid who has barely awakened and already thinks he's special." Do you have any idea how high the sky is or how thick the earth is? You're running into the forest chasing death, one man says. Another man suggests that the boy might have a strong vocation. The first man, with an arrogant tone, accuses the other of being blind. How is he accusing a blind man of being blind? That's just mean, someone quips. The first man then instructs the other to look at Zhang Li. How is he supposed to look? He's blind, someone mutters under their breath. Pointing at Jang, the man declares, "Look at him. He's so skinny. What else could he be but a mage?" Suddenly, someone approaches Jang from behind, shouting, "Little brother," and grabbing his shoulder. A young woman approaches Jang, looks at his class, and asks if he's a newly awakened student. She then invites him to join their group. One of the men protests, saying they're too busy with urgent matters to accommodate Jang. Another agrees, suggesting that Vivi's generosity is excessive. Disappointed, Vivi confronts the two men, questioning why they're acting this way. Jang, however, simply smiles and assures Vivi it's fine. He tells her he'll manage on his own, and bows to her, thanking her for her kindness. "Wait a second," Vivi implores. She hands him a potion, saying he'll find it useful later because he's a mage. Jang accepts the potion, thanking her with a smile. Vivi advises Jang to be careful in the Grey Forest. In the forest, a level 4 goblin stands guard with a large club slung over its shoulder, hiding behind a tree. Jang observes the goblin, snapping his fingers as a fireball forms above them. He launches it at the goblin, catching it off guard and triggering a massive explosion. The level 4 goblin is defeated instantly. Jang approaches its fallen form, thanking his max-level fireball spell. As he turns, Jang senses a presence behind him. A group of goblins appears. Approaching one of them, perched on a branch and brandishing a gleaming blade, Jang asks, "Did the commotion I caused attract you here?" The other goblins mock him, but Jang prepares to eliminate them, remarking that it's better they came to him so he doesn't have to hunt them down individually. Jang casts the light armor spell, creating a shield around his body. A goblin's strike becomes useless against the impenetrable shield. Despite their best efforts, the goblins fail to break through Jang's max-level light armor. With his fireball spell ready again, Jang unleashes it on the goblins, triggering a massive explosion that defeats them all simultaneously. When the system notifies Jang that he has leveled up, he smiles and remarks, "It's like using a hammer to crack a nut." As an entire goblin army surrounds him, Jang, unfazed, sarcastically declares, "The result won't change," Jang mutters as he snaps his fingers to summon the flame again. However, this time nothing happens. Perplexed, he checks his mana and is stunned to realize that even after leveling up, he's still limited to casting only 2 fireball spells and 1 light armor spell. Determined to restore his mana, he decides to meditate after defeating the goblins, noticing that his light armor shield is still partially intact. Confident the goblins won't be able to break through his defense, he grabs one of their clubs and decides to play with them. As the goblins attack, Jang wields the club, threatening to demonstrate the power of a melee mage. He lands a blow to the head of one of the monsters but quickly realizes his physical damage is minimal, dealing only 10 points. Still, he confidently declares that 10 points of damage are enough and charges again at the goblins, proclaiming their inability to harm him. As night falls, Jang wipes his face, visibly exhausted from defeating all the goblins. He reflects on his reduced physical damage and mentions that he has leveled up. The system notifies him of his progress, but he notices his mana remains limited, allowing for only 2 fireball spells. To compensate, he relies on his light armor spell for protection while waiting for his fireball spell to recharge, though it reduces his efficiency. A thunderous roar snaps Jiang out of his thoughts as darkness envelops the area. He wonders who could have caused such a commotion. A magnificent creature emerges, and Jiang immediately recognizes the perfect opportunity. Defeating an elite monster early on should grant a significant amount of experience. He grins and tries to cast the light armor spell, raising his fists. However, both Jiang and the elite monster are stunned when the shield fails to materialize. Groaning in fear, Jiang mutters, "Oh no," as he faces an imminent threat without mana. A level 10 giant goblin wielding a massive axe prepares to attack. The elite goblin raises its weapon, delivering a powerful strike that slams into the ground with incredible force. Jiang barely evades the blow, the impact leaving a massive crater in the ground. Alarmed, Jiang admits he's in serious trouble. "I think so too," he mutters. To his dismay, a level 1 goblin surprises him with an attack from behind. Jiang suddenly remembers the small goblins he had almost neglected. Being out of mana is now allowing the monsters to torment him. Calming himself, Jiang considers 3 solutions to his predicament. Finding a way to meditate and replenish his mana, attempting to fight the goblins with physical attacks, or temporarily retreating to regroup. Before revealing his choice, he asks, "What would you do in this situation? Let me know in the comments." He realizes, however, that he can't concentrate enough to meditate at the moment, so if you chose meditation, you've already lost. Dodging a rock thrown by a small goblin, he grabs the potion he received from the girl earlier, reasoning that drinking it will restore a third of his mana, just enough to activate light armor. Even so, Jiang prefers not to flee, knowing that restoring mana naturally would take an entire day. He decides to drink the potion, hoping someone else might defeat the elite monster in the meantime. Removing the cork from the vial, he takes a sip of the elixir. "Looks like you were all fooled," he mutters, realizing he didn't choose any of the original options. He chose to use the potion instead. While the giant goblin raises its axe to strike, Jiang activates the light armor at the last second, forming a barrier that deflects the blow. Deciding to take a risk, he wonders how much mana he can restore with his maximum level meditation before the shield breaks. Jiang sits on the ground, protected by the light armor. Despite the elite goblin's repeated strikes, the shield holds firm, allowing Jiang to meditate safely. With another powerful blow, the goblin's axe finally shatters the shield. Jiang smiles and says, "That's enough," as he opens his eyes, now glowing with renewed mana. He snaps his fingers, speculating whether the goblin might be starting to tire. A massive, flaming fireball materializes and strikes the goblin, causing a devastating explosion. The blast hurls all the goblins into the air, while Jiang collapses to the ground, exhausted. A system notification confirms he found a critical weak point, dealing a fatal blow. Wiping the sweat from his brow, Jiang admits it was a close call. He praises his maximum level meditation, feeling elated as the system announces he has gained 4 levels after defeating such a formidable foe. Scanning the battlefield for treasure, Jiang finds 2 items forged from black iron, a pair of incredibly fast gloves, and a magnificent gold ring. Reflecting on his combat ability, he realizes he must either defeat enemies quickly or risk being killed in a single strike. Though he finds the initial equipment unimpressive, he decides to keep them for later use. Assessing his mana capacity, Jiang concludes that grouping monsters for more efficient battles is riskier than facing them one by one. He wishes for cheaper area of effect attack spells. Suddenly, his eyes light up at the sight of a spellbook. Opening it, he is thrilled to discover its contents are usable even by the most inexperienced classes. Fascinated, Jiang delves into the book, eager to uncover its secrets. Crackling bolts of lightning emanate from its pages. The spell's name is Arc Lightning. Jiang recognizes it as a daily area of effect ability. Observing its scalability and control effects with a satisfied smile, he eagerly anticipates testing it. The goblins around him remain oblivious to the danger therein. Suddenly, they are struck by lightning, disoriented and bewildered as they scan their surroundings for answers. As Jiang casts the spell, he realizes that a single shot isn't enough. Another bolt arcs from his fingers, striking the goblins again. While the defeated goblins reveal that the damage isn't as potent as that of a fireball, Jiang notes that 4 casts of arc lightning deal equivalent damage, with shorter cooldowns and casting times. Additionally, it doesn't require gathering creatures into one spot. Jang now understands that this is the spell he needed to easily defeat weaker monsters. His excitement is evident as he sets his sights on the boss of the Grey Forest, imagining that if an elite monster yielded such rewards, the boss must be even more lucrative. However, replenishing his mana is a priority before venturing into the boss's domain. Spotting a group of sleeping goblins, he speculates that this must be a goblin tribe's dwelling and assumes the area boss must be nearby. Deducting that all the goblins are asleep, he cautiously advances, searching for the boss among the slumbering goblins and planning to strike with fireballs. However, he accidentally steps on a branch, which breaks loudly. Alarmed, Jang realizes his mistake as one goblin wakes up, rubbing its eyes. Reacting quickly, Jang strikes the goblin on the head with a large staff. Despite the blow, the goblin remains resilient, roaring in pain and anger. The commotion wakes the other goblins. Jang flees, pleading with the goblins to stop chasing him, apologizing, and explaining that he needs full mana to fight the boss. In retaliation, one of the goblins hurls a rock that hits Jang squarely on the head. Irritated, Jang turns to face the goblins, preparing his spell for battle. He unleashes lightning bolts, electrocuting the goblins and halving their health. A second round of lightning spells defeats them all, leaving them sprawled on the ground. Jang questions their hostility, unable to find the boss among the tribe. Suddenly, the ground begins to tremble, and fissures form beneath his feet. Alarmed, Jang suspects an earthquake is occurring. He notices a statue resembling an elderly goblin behind him, glowing with an aura that leaves him bewildered. Meanwhile, 3 individuals walk through the forest, one of them expressing concern about practicing there at night, likening it to courting death. Yenan, uncle of Yenu Ri, is eager to defeat Zhongli and impress his nephew. A blonde companion reminds Yenan of the late hour, questioning whether Zhongli would still be in the forest. Yen glares at the blonde, questioning his confidence. The blonde quickly clarifies that he doesn't doubt Yen but worries about the dangers of being in the forest at night, especially encountering elite monsters or bosses they might not be able to handle. Suddenly, the ground begins to tremble. Recognizing the vibrations as the activation of the area boss, Yan Kanan is startled and informs the group that the goblin shaman, the area's boss, has been triggered. He suggests letting whoever activated the boss handle the fight first, intending to join in later. Meanwhile, Jang Li identifies the area boss of the Grey Forest and observes that its presence isn't as intimidating as previous elite monsters he faced. "Oh, come on, just say it's not as strong as the others," Jang Li mutters. He now stands face to face with a level 20 goblin shaman, holding a staff in one hand and conjuring crystalline objects with the other. As the goblin shaman casts a spell, Jang Li activates his fireball spell, wondering if the boss is also a mage. He critiques the boss's slow casting speed and hurls a fireball, which explodes on the ground, hitting a weak spot. The system confirms it as a critical hit. In retaliation, the shaman launches ice crystals at Jang Li, who nervously braces for a complex battle. When hit by the ice crystals, Zhang Li is startled by the high damage he suffers. Using its cape, the shaman shields itself from Zhang Li's fireball attacks. As the shaman searches for Zhang Li but fails to locate him, Jang manages to hide behind a tree. The shaman continues producing crystals, toppling a tree as it tries to locate him. Jang notices the shaman's cape seems to resist fire attacks, suspecting it has magical resistance. With his mana running low, Jang realizes he can't sustain the fight much longer. He decides to meditate to replenish his mana before being discovered. The shaman relentlessly uses its crystals to knock down trees in every direction, searching for Zhang. After toppling several trees, the shaman turns to the one Zhang is hiding behind. Summoning another crystal, the shaman fires it at Jang's hiding spot, knocking the tree over. Interrupted from his meditation, Jang opens his eyes, realizing he has been discovered. The boss growls menacingly, beginning to create more crystals while holding its staff high. Numerous crystals are prepared to strike Jang. He comments that the situation looks dire, fearing he doesn't have enough mana left to cast a fireball as his resources are nearly depleted. Declaring that he has exhausted all other options, Jang instead casts a lightning spell, unable to use his fireball. The crystals and the boss are struck by the lightning. As the boss is electrocuted, it screams in frustration, and the crystals shatter. Stunned by the lightning's paralysis effect at maximum level, the boss collapses to the ground. And we'll see it in the next episode. Remember to subscribe and leave a like.